You're jamming to electromagnetic radio. Music at the speed of sound. em-radio.com.
Hello?
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
I like tacos.
Mañana, viernes, sábado y domingo estaré atendiendo.
De la que me hablas, 728 es la de...
To another episode of Black Shirt Mixtape, live on Electromagnetic Radio, My name is Jesse, and I'll be your host on this sonic journey for the next 90 or 120 minutes, 2 hours or so. And oh man, tonight is going to be fun. So if you're a fan of Black Shirt Mixtape, you know that I like to do themed shows, right? And I will also do focus on a favorite band of mine. And tonight it's all about The Cure. And I actually had to go back and look at all my shows, because I'm like, there's no way I haven't done a show on The Cure. Like, The Cure is such a massive part of my musical upbringing, growing up in San Diego. And it's still such a large part of my life. And like, I formed some really amazing friendships with people that I still talk to today. And it's really, a lot of it is based on a mutual admiration and love of The Cure. So that was a track called Kyoto Song off of 1986's, I believe, The Head on the Door, which was really the first album that started to get them some traction, right? Some commercialism, right? In between days, Close to Me, right? Getting, in heavy rotation on MTV, mid 80s. This is MTV is shepherding in a new era, right? Duran Duran, The Cure, Depeche Mode, like all these bands. And it's an album that I kind of avoid. I don't want to say I avoided, but I didn't listen to it for a long time. And I've kind of gone back to it over the last couple of years, because I feel like it's a really underrated album, and one that I kind of glossed over at the time. So tonight you're going to be listening to, or I'm not going to be playing all the popular stuff. Like, I'm just going to get it out of the way. And if you know me, and if you listen to the show, you know that I kind of, I'm known for that. I kind of take the path, the road less traveled, right? When it comes to playing tracks of my favorite bands. So I'm going to really be focusing, to be honest, on a lot of their earlier stuff, right? So 17 Seconds, Faith, Pornography, right? The holy trinity of albums. We'll be playing some stuff off Disintegration and Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. Of course, I can't not. But I'm not going to be playing like Love Song or Just Like Heaven. Like, those songs have been played. If you want to listen to those, you can find about a gajillion playlists on whatever streaming platform you listen to music on, and they'll do the introduction into The Cure. But I want to kind of focus on some of what I really feel speaks to me, which is the older stuff, which is funny now that I'm like getting older, right? I'm 51, and I kind of go back to their more like gothy, punky stuff, right? Their droning, dissonant 6-minute tracks, which is what I really enjoy. So if you've been living under a rock and you've never heard of The Cure before, they were actually formed in 1976 in Crawley by none other than Robert James Smith and Lowell Tolhurst. And they went through several lineup changes until they actually ended up recording their first album, their eponymous debut, with just Simon Gallup on bass, Robert Smith on vocals and guitar, and Lowell on drums. Lowell Tolhurst would eventually get demoted from the drum throne to keyboard tinkler, and then eventually removed from the band. And in my opinion, there's a peak era Cure in terms of the lineup, and that would include Perry Belmonte on guitar and keyboards, Roger O'Donnell on keyboards, and then Porl Thompson and Boris Williams, who Porl was in The Cure when they were called the Easy Cure, and then he was kind of removed from the band because legend has it he was just too much into guitar soloing, and Robert Smith was like, that's not really fitting with the minimalist approach that I want to go for. He ended up joining the band again, like rejoining the band in the 80s, and then ended up leaving. I believe he's married to Robert's sister. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. But and Boris Williams on drums. That's, The Head on the Door, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Disintegration, Wish. I mean, he's one of my favorite drummers. Jason Cooper, who's been drumming with them for a while now. He's good, but he's really just kind of, I feel like, replicating a lot of the style that Boris kind of put together. So I think we're just going to go ahead and start playing some of my favorite tracks off of 17 Seconds. So this is a track, man, I could listen to this song all the time. I actually do. This was a fun playlist to put together because it was very easy. The only thing that I really had to do was play around with the running order, right, to make it sound like a true mixtape. And that's really my goal with this show, is the golden age of putting together that tape for that girl that you really had a crush on, and you would pour your heart and soul into this playlist. You can hear my dog. He's barking in the background. And I just noticed that my eldest daughter is now staring at me. How long have you been sitting here? Not that long. All right. Well, listen, we're going to get the show rolling. You're listening to Black Shirt Mixtape live on Electromagnetic Radio. This is The Cure. Enjoy.
myself like everybody else. Secrets I hide, they twist me inside, make me weaker. So I trick myself like everybody else. So I trick myself like everybody else. I count to fear and wait have to adapt or you'll be out of style. It's always the same, you jump in someone else's train. If you pick up on it quick, you can say you were there. Again and again and again, you jump in someone else's train. It's the latest wave that you've been craving for. The old idea was getting such a bore. Now you're back in line, going not quite as far, but in half the time. Everyone's happy, they're finally all the same. 'Cause everyone's jumping everybody else's train. Jumping someone else's train. Jumping someone else's train. Jumping someone else's train.
I mean, that song sounds almost downright poppy compared to some of their later stuff, right? So that was, well, let's go ahead and just start from the beginning of that run there, because that was a good run. So we kicked it off with a track called At Night off of their sophomore record, 17 Seconds. And then we played one of my favorite tracks off of the Head on the Door, right? So we already played Kyoto Song. I told you I revisited this record, and I'm really, it's becoming one of my favorite albums again. A track called Sinking. And we played In Your House again off of 17 Seconds. And then one of my favorite Cure songs, a track called Primary off their third record, Faith. And then closed out that run with Jumping Someone Else's Train off of Three Imaginary Boys. But I want to back up a little bit here because I mentioned earlier the Cure fans, what we call the Holy Trinity of albums, right? It was 17 Seconds, Faith, and Pornography. And I want to kind of put into perspective for you, those three albums were recorded back to back to back. So 1980, 1981, and 1982. So you've got a very dissonant sounding album with 17 Seconds. They went on the road, they toured it. They took a couple of tracks that didn't make it onto 17 Seconds and built Faith around that, which was a really gloomy record, right? Now there's some sonic touchstones on 17 Seconds that 100% every goth band can draw a direct line back to that album. In addition to Faith. But the cool thing about 17 Seconds is that while the Cure were on tour for Three Imaginary Boys, right? That record comes out, they go tour it. They weren't actually very happy with it. They weren't familiar with the studio yet, and so they had to rely on some other producers to help them out, and they just weren't thrilled. But I think they just wanted to get their music out there after the I don't want to say failure of Easy Cure, but the Easy Cure were pushed in a direction by their label that they weren't really happy with, and so that contract was dissolved, and then they were picked up by Chris Perry. And he formed Fiction Records, which they remained on for a very long time. Anyway, while they were touring Three Imaginary Boys, they were opening up for Susie and the Banshees. And their guitar player quit mid-tour, and Robert Smith ended up pulling double duty, basically playing in The Cure, opening up, and then coming right back on stage and playing guitar in Susie and the Banshees. And that was, he talks a lot about that. You can find a lot of interviews where Robert talks about what an impact it was in terms of his songwriting, in terms of his guitar playing, in terms of, shaping the sound of really where he, helped him form the sound in his head and get that onto tape. and that was 17 Seconds is a direct result of that. So while 17 Seconds is like kind of dissonant and droning, Faith is very morose. It's a depressing album, but it's a really beautiful record. And then rounding out the trilogy is an album called Pornography, which if all of those records before were trying to define the band, this absolutely pushed them into a whole new arena. This was a very, very aggressive album, very violent. They were drinking heavily. Robert was not in a good headspace after recording an album, touring. I mean, it's a grind. For those of you listening that have never experienced life on the road, it's very monotonous and it's draining. And they spent 4 years, at a breakneck speed, working at a breakneck speed. And the result of that was Pornography. And one of my favorite tracks of theirs. I love it live. It's just, there are so many great vicious live versions of this track, but I'm going to play the original because I don't know. I feel like if I had to pick one Cure song, I would probably pick this, which is, I've told that to some friends of mine who are Cure fans, and they're like, that's really interesting because that's not the track that we would pick to introduce somebody into the Cure, but oh well, to each his own. If you're just joining us now, we are doing a full 120-minute deep dive into the beautiful, emotional, soul-crushing music, but in a good way, of The Cure. This is one of my favorite songs off of Pornography. This is called 100 Years. Enjoy. was like the first band that I really, really got into like learning about like the production, the producers, the songwriting, the story behind all the songs, you know, and then of course there was the sharing and collecting of bootleg live recordings. You know, this was my relationship with The Cure is a very communal one. I mentioned at the top of the hour that I still have many relationships to this day that were not based around our love of The Cure, but sure played a big part, in those friendships. If you've listened to my show before, you know that I actually had a guest on when I did an all ska episode. His name was Corey White. He's one of my oldest and dearest friends. And we, the ska band that we were in, actually started out as a Cure cover band. And, we very, very poorly covered some Cure stuff. Obviously stuff from their first album was the easiest for us to play, but it was just so much fun. I have so many fond memories of setting up in my parents' garage and just jamming through as many Cure songs as we could and playing some high school functions and some parties and just whatnot. So that's a big part of my life. And then another dear friend of mine, Russ Glenn, I've talked about him on the show before. He is a musician. He lives in Dripping Springs, which is outside of Austin, Texas. And he's a fantastic solo artist in his own right. And we actually went, was it last summer? Well, maybe last summer, and saw The Cure together. He drove up to Dallas, and we saw them play at Dos Equis Pavilion, where they were touring their excellent album, Songs of a Lost World, which was their first album of new material in like 16 years or something, 15 or 16 years, and like big seller, on the charts, so happy, right? Just a great collection of songs. But that was really the first time I'd seen them since Disintegration, I want to say, which was a heck of a long time ago, the Disintegration tour. But Russ saw my social media postings today, and we were chatting back and forth, and he had asked me if I wouldn't mind dedicating tonight's show to a college roommate of his who Russ recently learned passed away, James Orme. They met in college because James had this big cutout of Robert Smith, the iconic shot from behind on the re-released Boys Don't Cry single in the late 80s. So I am more than happy to oblige. He was a bass player, loved The Cure. I'm sure he loved all those older albums where they had just some great Simon Gallup bass lines. But definitely want to shout out and dedicate this show to James and to Russ and to Corey and to all my friends that, I bonded with over this crazy band who have so many evolutions and different styles of, it's like one of the reasons why I love Radiohead so much is they just have all these different moods. Well, guess where that came from, right? This is The Cure going from goth to pop to, dance to, we haven't even talked about their remix album, Mixed Up, which came out, on the heels of the Disintegration tour concluding, right? Which was a remixes of all their big songs, which was huge, and remix for the dance floor, which to this day remains one of my favorite remix records, and really paved the way for a lot of other artists to kind of get creative with their established songs. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about that last run. So kicked it off with 100 Years off of 1982's Pornography, the album that almost destroyed the band. Lots of hallucinogenics were taken, lots of alcohol. I read somewhere that Smith really was going to just kind of disband the group after. This was like a big FU record, and he was going through a lot of mental anguish at the time, a lot of depression. And then, the pivot after that was The Top, which if you play those albums next to each other, man, it's like two different bands. Anyways, Then we went ahead and played a track, one of my favorite tracks off of The Head in the Door, called The Baby Screams. And I love this track because it really got me into like drum triggers and sampling and whatnot. Because if you've ever tried to play this song live, it's really hard because it has these syncopated hand claps, and you've got to The Cure have a lot of triggers. Their drummers use a lot of triggers, and it's kind of like a click track in a way. And if you've never played along with a click track, you're lucky because it sucks. It is really, really hard. But I love that track. And then we played Fascination Street, the lead single off of what is arguably the band's peak songwriting, production, anything, which was Disintegration, right? Famously, in South Park, where Robert Smith makes a cameo and turns into a robot to fight a robot, Barbra Streisand, and one of them yells out, "Disintegration was the best album ever." I mean, it really is. It's just a massive achievement in putting together something really coherent, creative, production, everything. And then we played Charlotte Sometimes, which it appears on Faith, but it was actually a standalone single in between 17 Seconds and the release of Faith. They later included on the album. And then The Perfect Girl off of Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. I saw somewhere, I like to scroll through TikTok, and I get my feed is mostly music. And this guy was like, I'm going to say something really controversial. The Cure's best album is not Disintegration. It's Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. And he went through this whole litany of reasons why, that record was infinitely better than Disintegration because of its eclecticness. While I don't disagree that it's much more eclectic, it's not Disintegration. But I remember when that album came out, it was like 87. I bought it on CD, and I just was like, I couldn't believe all of the sounds that I had heard. And the songwriting, and just, it was so amazing. Okay, so I haven't played any live Cure yet, which we are going to now start playing a couple of tracks. This is not my favorite version of Shake Dog Shake. This is off of Paris, the live Paris album. There's an EP, a live EP called Concert that was released in '84 when Phil Thornley, their producer, was playing bass, right? So Simon Gallup left the band for a while and came back later on. But it's this show that they did in DC, and that has my favorite version of Shake Dog Shake. But I'm going to play this one instead. You're listening to Black Shirt Mixtape live on Electromagnetic Radio and Radio Cult. This is Shake Dog Shake live. Enjoy.
observers refrain. Accuracy, accuracy, practice all day for accuracy. Mirror, mirror. Plastic passions are hard to handle. Plastic passions are sold out scandal. It's a plastic passion. It's a plastic passion. Plastic passion's a lady's lover. Plastic passion's a mobile mother. It's a plastic passion. It's a plastic passion. Plastic passion is a diamond delight. This plastic passion is a lady of night.
He just wants to hold you like a dog. I mean, is that so much to ask? One of my favorite tracks off of Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, All I Want. So yeah, that was, as I mentioned at the top of the show, I'm not going to be playing any of the trendy songs, right? I'm definitely not playing anything off of really anything past Wish, to be honest with you. Bloodflowers is a pretty decent record, but the rest, yeah, up until Songs of a Lost World, right, which came out last year in 2024. Okay, so we kicked off that run with Shake Dog Shake Live from their Live in Paris album. And then we played, again, going back to 17 Seconds, right? I think this may be one of my favorite Cure albums, a track called Secrets. And then we played back-to-back tracks from their debut, Accuracy and Plastic Passion, off of Three Imaginary Boys. There's a great B-Sides and Rarities album that you can pick up called Join the Dots that has versions of that as well. I think it covers like 1978 through 2001. And then we played A Strange Day off of Pornography, which is the last song on the album and probably the only song that's really could be like a single, like a commercial single. But I love it. It's great live. All their stuff is great live. The band has really evolved into a pretty formidable touring machine. It's always a treat. You're going to get, and if I might add, they fight for lower ticket prices. If you're someone like me who goes to a lot of concerts, you're constantly bemoaning all the hidden fees and the just, general ass raping that you get when you go to a concert these days. But The Cure try and keep it affordable, which I appreciate. Let's go ahead and play one of my favorite B-sides. So as I mentioned earlier, an album called Mixed Up came out after Disintegration, and one of the B-sides that came through, I mean, they did a cover of Hello, I Love You for the Rubaiyat compilation album, which was a tribute to Elektra Records. But they put out this great, quirky little B-side that I played the living daylights out of. I remember hanging out in my other buddy, Josh Dyer's house, and I play this all the time. I really love it. It is called Harold and Joe, and we're going to go ahead and I'm running out of time, unfortunately. I'm going to have to shuffle some stuff around because I really want to play my favorite song, one of my favorite songs off Disintegration. But we'll see. This is Harold and Joe by The Cure. You're listening to Black Shirt Mixtape live on Electromagnetic Radio. Enjoy.
Oh, if only I was sure that my head on the door was a dream. Songs of memory, songs about happiness, moment and dreams, and we both of us knew how the end always ends. How the end always ends.
I mean, that is hands down one of my favorite tracks off of Disintegration. It is the track called Disintegration. And that's saying a lot because that record is just stacked. I mean, it's just, you put it on, you let it play. So that kind of brings us to the end of our show. Let's kind of walk through. We played Harold and Joe, which was a B-side to Never Enough. And then we played a remix of Close to Me. It's the Close to Me Closer mix, which I think is probably my favorite on that mixed up. It's got that, you know, the dub beat on it. And it's no surprise, I just actually learned tonight that Boris Williams was heavily involved in all aspects of that remix record, and especially that track. No surprise there, as a drummer myself, like, you know, drawn to that rhythm. And then close out that run with Disintegration. I really appreciate you guys tuning in, as always, to this show. This was a fun one, kind of going down memory lane, you know, from high school on, and just kind of, you know, reliving and revisiting my relationship that I have with this wonderful band that continues to put out amazing music for myself and my friends. If you missed this show, you can always jump onto our website, www.em-radio.com. Look for the Mixcloud link. Myself, as well as all the other DJs in the electromagnetic family, have shows there. And as always, this show will be up on whatever streaming platform you choose tomorrow, and you can access all my other shows as well. So again, I thank you guys for joining me on this, you know, sonic journey that I take every other week. And remember, be kind to one another because it's free. I'm going to close this out with a great live version of one of their first songs. And then after that, a little surprise. So enjoy.
Hello. Welcome to the one and only performance of Curation 24.
Steps on my shadow, see the lights out, no one's home. Enormous statues stare at nothing in the garden. Can you help me? Close my eyes and hold so tight, scared of what the morning brings. Waiting for tomorrow never comes. Time leaves me free, imaginary boy. Stand through the door, feel my heartbeat down the hallway. Goes round and round inside my head. Speed up the stairs, I see the steps behind me disappearing. Can you help me? My eyes and hold so tight, scared of what the morning brings. Waiting for tomorrow never comes. Deep inside the empty feeling, all the nighttime leaves me free. Imaginary boy, singing in my sleep. Sweet child, the moon will change your mind. About it, cover it all up with lies. I try to laugh about it, hiding the tears in my eyes. 'Cause boys don't cry. Boys don't cry. I'll break down at your feet and beg forgiveness, plead with you. But I know that it's too late and now there's nothing I can do. So I try to laugh about it, cover.
Vesiculares, piedras renales, piedras, bueno.
You're jamming to electromagnetic radio. Music at the speed of sound. em-radio.com.